Weakness is never attacked loudly. It is studied quietly. Watch the room. Tension rises. Voices sharpen. Someone questions you. Not aggressively, just enough to see what you'll do. And then it happens. You start explaining. Not because you're wrong, but because something inside you feels exposed. Your voice speeds up. Your sentences get longer. You begin filling gaps no one asked you to fill. And in that moment, you don't lose the argument. You lose position. Because pressure doesn't break men. It reveals where they can be broken. Look closer. A meeting table. Your decision gets challenged. You could hold eye contact, say one sentence, and stop. But you don't. You open the door. You explain your reasoning. Then your backup reasoning. Then the thing behind the reasoning. And now the room isn't listening to your logic. They're watching your instability. Same pattern, different scene, a simple question. Why did you do that? And instead of answering, you start defending. You try to be understood. You try to be fair. You try to be transparent. But what they see is access. Because the moment you expose your internal world under pressure, you give them a map. Where you hesitate, where you doubt, where you need approval. And once someone has that map, they don't argue with you. They use you. This is the part no one tells you. Conflict is not about who is right. It is about who stays unread. Because in every high-pressure interaction, there are only two roles, the one being observed and the one being decoded. And most men don't even realize. They switch roles the moment they start explaining. You thought you were clarifying, but you were signaling. And signals are how predators hunt. The real danger begins when pressure becomes strategic. Not every challenge is meant to defeat you. Some are only meant to read you. A raised eyebrow, a delayed reply, a cold tone in the middle of a conversation, a public correction that could have been private. Small things. But small things are how people test for openings. They watch what makes you rush, what makes you defend, what makes your face tighten, your tone change, your posture weaken. And once they find it, pressure stops being random. It becomes targeted. This is why weakness is rarely used the first time it appears. First, it is confirmed, then remembered, then applied when the stakes are higher. A man under pressure says too much. That tells you he fears losing control. A man gets cold when ignored. That tells you attention controls him. A man becomes emotional when questioned. That tells you doubt is his trigger. Now the conflict is no longer equal because one person is dealing with the issue while the other is studying the person. This is where most men fail. They think power comes from stronger words, better arguments, sharper comebacks. But in real pressure, power comes from denying useful information. Machiavelli understood this long ago. The man who reveals his fear in conflict hands the other side a lever. And once leverage appears, respect disappears with it. You see this everywhere. At work, the calm man gets challenged and answers briefly. The anxious man gets challenged and gives a speech. One looks solid, the other looks manageable. In relationships, one person hears a difficult question, pauses, and stays composed. The other starts explaining tone, intention, emotions, history. One keeps mystery, the other gives away the code, and the brutal truth is this: people trust what looks stable, but they test what looks penetrable. That is why pressure is so revealing. It forces hidden weakness to the surface, not weakness of character, weakness of control. And once people sense they can move your emotions with a question, push your frame with silence, or shake your certainty with doubt, they stop seeing you as someone to confront carefully. They start seeing you as someone they can work on. That is the shift. The moment your weakness becomes visible, it stops being a feeling inside you. It becomes a tool outside you. The moment you understand this, everything changes. Because now you see the real game. Conflict was never about proving yourself. It was about protecting access to yourself. Most men walk into pressure trying to win the moment. They argue, they explain, they react. But the ones who hold power They protect their center. Watch them carefully. They are not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the most emotional. They are the least available. A question hits them. They pause. An accusation appears. They don't rush to clear it. A tense silence forms. They don't fill it. And something strange happens. The pressure doesn't increase. It shifts. Because when there is nothing to read, there is nothing to use. This is what most people cannot handle. A man who does not react on cue cannot be guided. A man who does not explain under pressure cannot be decoded. A man who does not expose his internal state cannot be leveraged. And that makes him dangerous. Not because he is aggressive, but because he is unavailable. This is where the real power sits. Not in control over others, but in control over what others can access. You don't need to dominate the room. You don't need to win every exchange. You don't even need to be understood. You need to be unread when it matters. Because the man who is easy to understand is easy to influence. And the man who is easy to influence is easy to control. So the shift is simple, but brutal. You stop explaining under pressure. You stop revealing your emotional state to every question. You stop turning silence into comfort for others. Instead, you hold. You answer only what is necessary. You let tension exist without trying to fix it. You let people sit with uncertainty instead of feeding them clarity. And in that space, you take your power back. Not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. Because now, no one knows where to press. No one knows what moves you. No one knows what will make you fold. And when that happens, conflict stops being a threat. It becomes a filter. The weak try to provoke you and fail. The manipulative try to read you and get nothing. The impatient reveal themselves, trying to force a reaction. And you remain exactly where you are, unmoved, unrushed, unexposed. This is what Machiavelli understood. Power is not in what you say, it is in what you refuse to reveal. So the next time pressure finds you, remember this: the moment you rush to explain, you give them something to use. But the moment you stay still, you become someone they cannot touch. Speak less, reveal less, hold more. And watch how quickly the balance shifts. Because in the end, the man who cannot be read is the man who cannot be controlled.